Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Welcome back to L2N's podcast, special one. Inshallah, we're going through the event that happened last week, historic Ijtima in America in Chicago. We've got our special guest, special correspondent Mufti Umair Saab. We'll be asking some questions to him while he was present there. Mufti Saab, Assalamu alaikum. The first question is, how does it feel to be part of this historic World Ijtima?
Alhamdulillah, this Ijtima was truly a historic Ijtima in a sense that there has not been a much Ijtima. For any Ijtima to be given a title of an Alimi Ijtima, there needs to be effort of an Alimi level. So prior to this Ijtima, almost when the Mashwara was made and it was decided, since that point until now, you know, 100 plus Jamaats have just come from Malaysia in all the states of USA, and mashallah from the UK, many Jamaats have come and worked in different states, in remote states, and new areas have been reopened because there's been a long gap. And America is a massive, it's a world of its own. So the effort that was before this Ijtima, and then how this Ijtima was, where it took place, the way it was organized, it's at the peak of where exhibitions in the world and everybody can see it wasn't a hidden away ijtima, and it left it was to be part of this entire, and the amount of jama'ats that came out of this ijtima, the amount of khair that will spread as a result of this, and how we, by being present there and whatever effort we made before the ijtima, little effort we made in comparison to those who gave 4 months, spent long time. Jamaats from India came, Jamaats from many parts of the world came and did hard work. So then for the climax of this, to then see such a massive audience of people all together, with such positivity, such imani, nurani and ruhani mahol, it's truly, an experience, and, to be, one will not remember this, or one will not experience this, sorry, rather, not every day. These ijtimas are rare. Wallahu a'lam when the next ijtima of this capacity, this scale will take place.
MashaAllah, good to hear. Mufti Saab, can you describe the atmosphere there when you were there in a few words?
The atmosphere was very calm. One would imagine that if there's 10,000, 15,000 to almost 20,000 plus people in a massive complex, you would normally sense this tension, this difficulty and hardship. It just felt so relaxed. Everything was so well organized. The food, the facilities, the way they had the food brought there, the way the people sat and they could listen and see the speaker, and listen to the words, the sound, the clarity. The diverse communities from all over the USA, the Muslim community, in an exhibition of this scale, exhibition center of this scale. So reality was, atmosphere was, and you're bumping into different types of people. Sometimes you've seen people somewhere else in the world and you've bumped into them, young, elderly, scholars, jamaats from different parts of the world. It was amazing, in a sense that it does not feel like this is America. It feels that you are, America has somehow become a Muslim world for these few days. It also, the fact that it's in such an important part of USA, Chicago. People travel from far off. People drove there from, like, if you ask people on average, they drove like 12 hours, and people came. Some of them flew in, some of them, they used different means of transport, several transport means to get there. So that atmosphere, the qurbani that's behind it, and they were all there under one roof. And the moment the Imam says Allahu Akbar, they all lined up, disciplined. That in itself was the atmosphere there. Truly. Some of the people doing khidmah, they're rich individuals from very privileged you know, company owners of businesses, and they're serving the food. You don't know who's there. Some alim is a Sheikh al Hadith from Malaysia, and he's cleaning up the area after the food. It's just everybody, the humility to the level, that beyond average. And then the people, they're calm. They're praying the salah, they're praying the nawafil, they're making dua. So all of this was an experience in itself.
MashaAllah, good to hear. Mufti Sab, what's the one message or reminder that really stuck with you in that Ijtima?
Alhamdulillah, Islam in America is very strong, I would say, is the word. Its presence, it can be seen the way when you meet non-Muslims, how they acknowledge Islam, Islamic values. They even greet you with salam. In different parts of America, you will see strong, in some parts, a very strong Muslim community. In some parts, you will see a community that's spread out. But almost everywhere, you will find a masjid, alhamdulillah. Even if you go remote parts, we were driving through Iowa, and we came across many masajids on our route. Places as far as, even Las Vegas, they have like 7 masjids in that area. One of the UK Jamaats worked there. I've generally found that the region of Chicago can be considered as the main center of ilm in the USA, where there's many madaris and most tolerant and knowledgeable, capable ulama of high caliber in the Western world, and in the mutual respect and trust, how the junior ulama respect the senior ulama, and it's reflective of the work of da'wah there. So I found that more on this part of the world, this part of the USA, and generally in the USA, alhamdulillah, there is, a strong Muslim community, very successful, and there are some parts where they are outnumbering even the local population, in terms of outnumbering them in terms of their numbers. It's like Muslim areas, you can say, in a way, not in a way that they're taking over, but alhamdulillah, a large Muslim community, strong Muslim community, but at the same time a community that does need more institutes of ilm. It does need more ulama. I sensed a shortage of ulama in some parts, and they have the institutes, they have the structure. However, it seems that there there needs to be some sort of a way to cater for those needs in a collective way, through mutual respect amongst organizations and institutes, and correct knowledge, authentic knowledge, and uh, the correct application, balanced application. Following the correct balanced interpretations of Islam. So, Alhamdulillah, overall, one can feel that there is hope in this part of the world, in terms of what we think America is. It's a huge country, influences a large part of the world, but the fact that they accommodate and they facilitate Muslims to live here, and Muslims in some parts of our UK Jamaats, they went to what they call the Silicon Valley. Uh, many, mashallah, Muslims in high positions in big companies, and they're highly influential. Uh, you know, Even in some parts, the mayors, upcoming mayors in some parts, in some big cities and big, well-known cities, from Muslim backgrounds. So the community is strong. It's diverse. Their interpretations are slightly more moderate than the UK, but overall, the American Muslims are definitely, moving in the right direction. More can be done, and there's many things we can learn from them as well in the UK. But overall, alhamdulillah, it was a very inspiring experience of the USA.
MashaAllah, very important reminder. And finally, Mufti Sab, what are your impressions of America and the Muslims and the environment of Islam there?
Alhamdulillah, all the sessions were very powerful and detailed, and some of them lasted just a couple of hours. But one of the sessions, one of the halaqas that was very beneficial was the halaqa which Sheikh had with the ulama and the imams that came from all over the United States. There was like a large number of ulama who had turned up. This session was about 2 hours, and one of the things in there that Sheikh mentioned towards the end, he quoted Mufti Shafi rahmatullahi alayh, the Grand Mufti of the Indian subcontinent, in his Tafsir al-Ma'arif al-Quran, under the verse, under the tafsir of وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنْ مَنَعَ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ أَنْ يُذْكَرْ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ وَسَعَى فِي خَرَابِهَا. He said, Mufti Shafi Sahib, when he went further elaborates on this, he quotes the verse, إِنَّمَا يَعْمُرُ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ, and he says that Ali radiallahu anhu, the fourth Khalifa of Islam, he mentioned that there are 6 qualities, good deeds, that one which makes an individual and builds the sifat of a mu'min. 3 of them are whilst you're at home, residing at home, and 3 of them whilst you are traveling. And amongst the 3, he mentioned that whilst you're residing at home is to read the Quran, reciting the Quran, and to do ta'mir of the masjid, populate the masajid, and to bring friends and people together so that they can do these things. This is the qawl of Ali radiallahu anhu. And the 3 things which, when you're traveling, you should be traveling for the deen, that you should be doing often is number 1, spend on your companions and your needy companions, be polite to everyone, and number 3, to uh, um, your co-travelers to do their ikram and ihtiram. So he quoted this very, in a very, in a detailed manner. He gave many things. He mentioned many things. He also mentioned how he met Sheikh Taqi Uthmani recently in Umrah, and why it's important to meet senior ulama and be connected to them. Why it's important for junior ulama to be under the guidelines and supervision of senior ulama. And he gave many great examples. As far as back as the seerah of the hayat of the lives of the Sahaba radiallahu ajma'in, very ilmi and comprehensive, and scholars that were present there, excuse my expression, but they were blown away with the ilm. I could see their body language. Scholars who are not from Tabligh background, who are just normal people who, normal ulama who studied from other institutes, and they were impressed. They were greatly impressed. They said, we haven't heard a bayan of this caliber, of this level of ilm in our Tabligh circles for many years now. We've never expected this level of ilm to be, things to be explained with such minute detail, with such reference and authenticity and confidence. And he said how important the things he was saying are, how important and relevant, as if he lives in the USA and he knows what's going on in the USA. But this was very inspiring. This session with the ulama, I believe, the people haven't recorded that ulama bayan, but it was very inspiring.
MashaAllah, good to hear, Mufti Sahib. Alhamdulillah. Now the Canada Ijtima will be taking place in a few days' time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept the Ijtima and protect us from all the tribulations and all the difficulties. Alhamdulillah, it has been confirmed that in Mashwara that Hazrat Ji Maulana Saad Sahib Hafidahullah will be coming to the UK on the 9th of July and will be come directly to Birmingham Markaz and other programs. These other programs include coming to Dewsbury Markaz for the Khatm Bukhari, and another program will be Dewsbury Europe Mashwara will be taking place on the 11th, 12th, and 13th of July in Dewsbury. Further on, he'll be going to Darul Umbari as well on the 14th, and thereafter London Markaz and Edmonton Islamic Centre on the 15th of July, and lastly, he'll be going to Slough Markaz on return to India on the 16th of July. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of the efforts, and especially the Mustarat Bayan will be taking place on the 15th of July in London Markaz and Al Madani Girls School to be confirmed. Let's all pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all the efforts of all the brothers who have come in the effort of da'wah, and inshallah we'll be updating you of all the events that have been taking place. Please like and subscribe and share with others. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.